Hi, today's EFT section is going to be on sadness. You know, so many times as humans, we treat feelings as though they are facts. And I think that's probably one of the most powerful things I've ever heard was a physician an osteopath that I was seeing in Houston at one point in time. And he said, please don't confuse feelings with facts. And so while our feelings are valid, while they are powerful tools for us, they are not facts. They come and go and ebb and flow. And so we need to be aware of that when we're feeling something that feels very strong, especially if it's a negative emotion, we have the power to shift, to change, to use that CBT triangle, right? If we change a thought, a feeling, or a behavior, we influence the other two. So tapping allows us to just take that break, right? To break that chain of events and responses so that we can choose a different response. And so today we're going to talk about sadness. We're going to tap on sadness. And if you're feeling particularly sad, typically with sadness comes hopeless, depression, those types of emotions, despair. So feel free to add any of those in there as we are tapping. I will too. Repeat them or stick with sadness. It doesn't matter. This is your journey, your experience, and your EFT tapping session. Dealing basically in the realm of sadness. All right, so I'm going to ask you to pick a number from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, of how extreme your sadness or your despair is at this time. Got that number? Awesome. All right, so holding that in mind, we'll begin to tap. Even though I am feeling all this sadness and despair, I love and approve of myself. Even though I am feeling all this sadness and despair, I love and approve of myself. Even though I'm feeling all this sadness and despair, I love and approve of myself. All this sadness and despair, all this sadness and despair, all these feelings of hopelessness, all this sadness and despair, all this sadness and despair. And I release this sadness from my heart and my mind and my body and my spirit. I just let this sadness go. I pick a better feeling. All this sadness and despair, all this sadness and despair, all this sadness and despair, all these feelings of hopelessness. Even though life seems really hard right now, and it's hard for me to smile, I smile anyway. Because I know that each time I smile, it's hard for my brain to register sadness. And I keep my eyes up as much as I can. Because I know that there is no picture for sadness. I release this sadness. I just let it go from all parts of me. I release this sadness. I release this sadness. Take a deep breath. I remember tapping this once with a client, and she said, it was the first time she had tapped, and she said, what did you do? I didn't do anything, you did. You tapped away your sadness and despair. we do that for ourselves, right? So if you're feeling better, if you can measure that sadness from 1 to 10 or despair, and you're down in the 1s and 2s and you're feeling okay and you're ready to go, I'll see you later. You can tap on something else. You can tap all the time. Tapping can only help. It can't hurt. But if you still have some lingering sadness, stay with me. We'll measure that one more time from 1 to 10. Got it? All right. So we'll just do a quick round of all this even though I have some remaining sadness, I love and approve of myself. Even though there's still some lingering sadness and despair, I love and approve of myself. For all this lingering sadness and despair, I love and approve of myself. All this lingering sadness and despair, 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 all this lingering hopelessness, all this heaviness, all this weight on my heart and my shoulders and myself and in my chest. I just let it go. I let it go from my heart and my mind and my body and my spirit. All this lingering sadness and despair. All this lingering sadness and despair. All this hopelessness. All these feelings that weigh me down. I just let them go now. Take a deep breath for me, please. Shake out your hands. Yeah. Wiggle. Whatever you got to do. Put yourself in a posture that feels better. You know, I keep a cartoon on my desk at work, and it's Charlie Brown with slumped over, and, one of his friends walks up to him and says, "Put your shoulders back, Charlie Brown, like you're looking so depressed." And he said, "I can't. See, this is my depressed stance, and I can't feel depressed if I'm not walking that way," right? So pay attention to your posture through the day. Do some thought stopping for yourself when you notice yourself spiraling about the things that make you sad or make you feel despair or hopeless. Stop. I will yell it in my head. Stop. Just stop. Put your eyes up. Give yourself a second. Take a few deep breaths. Take a drink of water. Dance around a little bit. Smile, even if you don't feel like it, because you will feel like it eventually. And realize that feelings aren't facts. And the only way to overcome negative feelings and feelings that are not helping us, and not that we don't have natural grief and natural sadness. If we see a sad movie, we feel a little sad inside. It's when that sadness lingers that it becomes a clinical problem. And please know that EFT is just a tool in your toolkit. Certainly, if your symptoms are beyond that, or you know that you're suffering from clinical depression and anxiety, and maybe this isn't enough for you, then definitely seek help with a mental health practitioner. Go to your local emergency room if it gets too bad, or do things to take care of yourself, right? Certainly you know that. All right, in the meantime, tapping can only help, so happy tapping. I'll see you next time.